So what I want to start off with is that there are a lot of guys who are quite young, starting off, having great ideas, and I'm sure all of you at one point in time had tried out several ideas, and then boom, that one moment that you've got it. So what are the different stages? How do you go about iterating your idea? What are the different stages of a startup?
Dilip, from the way we see it, one is to look at this entire journey from a funding perspective. But if you take that out, at the core, entrepreneurs or startups try to solve certain problems. So if you break it up in that journey, you will see that the first stage would be this problem solution stage. When there is some moment of epiphany and you feel that there is a problem, you feel very strongly about it and you find some solution for it. So the first phase would be this problem solution kind of a thing. Beyond that, then you'll have to come out with some kind of a MVP, minimum viable product, to solve for that problem. Once you have an MVP, then you'll have to find a product market fit. You'll have to make sure that your solution is something that is taken over. Then I believe you will come to a growth phase where you will take the solution that you have and take it to a lot of people. And finally, you will get into a kind of a maturity phase. In my worldview, keeping money aside, right? We know a lot of us tend to think of startups and growth in terms of the money and the funding and the stages of funding. But I think you should disengage that, because money is something that will enable you to meet these objectives. That's how I see the stages of a startup.
Was GreyTip your first idea, or you iterated on many ideas before GreyTip?
No, GreyTip was kind of our first idea.
And those of you who don't know what GreyTip does, it's one of India's largest in terms of HR tech companies for the SME segment. What Girish has done, I think your MVP and your GTM is primarily solving HR tech for SMEs and mid-market companies. That's a sweet spot, right?
It's remained a sweet spot for quite some time.
Yeah.
So continuing to work for the SME segment. Yeah.
Okay. So just like some people solve for Bharat, Tier 2, Tier 3, you have tried to solve it for SME and MME companies.
SMB and a lot of India, if you look, SMBs are Bharat companies, right? Of course, startups are the more glamorous side of the SMB thing, but you will find huge number of hospitals, schools, logistics companies, small retail outlets, all of them having 30, 50, 100 employees. There are millions of them, right? And all of them require some kind of a solution to help their business challenges. And I believe that's our sweet spot. That's where we are.
Girish sir, I think the way when you raised funds and now, it's a sea of change, right? So what do you see as a difference now and then? How was it easier into 2014, 15 when you were really raising money, and when you compare that to today, how easy or bad is it?
Honestly, I think over the last few years, funding has become much more easier, right? And people are willing to believe in multiple stories, in the sense multiple sectors, India as a market, because see, we are primarily domestic focused. The number of companies who believe in build in India, build for India are even today a very, very small number, especially in the B2B SaaS space. So my personal experience is funding environment has got a lot more better now than what it was earlier. Of course, cyclically irrationality always gets built in. In every sector, suddenly there is a lot of irrationality, then there is a correction phase and goes through. But I completely agree, there is no dearth of money in the market. There is a huge amount of money sitting in good stories where you have customers, where you're solving pain points and customers are willing to adopt and pay. They are getting funded even today. There is never a problem with that. The only problem is what is the greed factor or what is the hype factor. And if you are in a stable cycle, a revenue generating or path to profitability, where your business economics are more solid, money is definitely there in the system. There's no dearth of money, honestly. There's more money actually than what we saw in the system. For us, GreyTip, in our current crowd pivot, my angel investor was my own company. So the market was very different then. You really did not have a lot of people coming out. But now the valuation, the cycles, the hype built around, and the next guy valuing the same company at a much higher rate, okay, and the notional returns that people see, all these have added a lot more. It's a lot more easier funding cycle that I see, if I see over a decade, than what it was earlier.
We have seen startups running behind valuation, and there are startups who don't run behind valuation, like a Zerodha, no funding. They just want to just keep building great products. And then there's this whole thing of only if you're valued better, you raise more funds, you're successful. Okay. So how do you respond to that? Like in your example, are you running behind getting the next round of funding, valuation, or are you just striving to make a great product and you just wait for inbounds to come in?
The question is at the heart of why you came in and became an entrepreneur, right? So it's a very philosophical question that everybody would need to answer. If I came in as a financial guy, I came in to build something, get a hype cycle organized and pawn it off to the next guy, right? Then you have to run behind valuation. Now, if you are really focused on wanting to do something, right? Wanting to deliver value, wanting to create value to the ecosystem, okay, where people would really feel that you have delivered something and they have got value, then you'll go behind the Zoho or the Zerodha route. So it all depends on why you became an entrepreneur. If you became an entrepreneur for making money, okay, then you would go behind the valuation cycle. That's how I say it.
I'll request Shesha Paplikar, founder of BHIVE, to come down on the stage and please give the gift.